Today's topic is we're talking about more exponential equations, and it's a little bit different from last week. Let's just jump right into it. Let's take a look. Here is you have 3 times e raised to the negative x minus 4 is 9. So you begin these problems as if you would most linear equations. You'd add the 4 on both sides. All right, so you have 3e to the negative x is equal to 13. All right, so you want to isolate. With most linear equations, you want to isolate a variable. In this case, you're isolating the e to the negative x function. All right, so let's divide by 3. We end up with e to the negative x. E is just some number. E is just some number, irrational number, 2.71. All right, so forth. And you have 13 thirds. Now, what I said before is any exponential equation, and I defined exponential equation last week by saying when the unknown variable is an exponent, any exponential equation can be solved where you turn the exponential equation into a logarithmic equation. And let's do the same thing we did last week. Our a, this equation is written in this form. Our a is e. Our y is negative x. And for our problem, our x is 13 over 3. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take this and turn our exponential equation into a logarithmic equation. All right. So now what we're going to do here is log base a, our a is e, of x, our x is 13 over 3, is equal to y. And our y is negative x. All right. So now what we're going to do is, this is the same thing we did last week, but we have a little bit different twist with this new variable e. What I want to show you is log base e of x is the same thing as the natural log of x. Log base e of x is the same thing as natural log x. So log base e of 13 thirds is the same thing as natural log of 13 thirds is equal to negative x. So that's the only difference between last week and this week. All right, so now what we're going to do is take the natural log. Okay, take the natural log of 13 over 3. All right, so we have the natural log button is the ln button. I don't know if you can see that. Natural log button right there, ln. Natural log of 13 divided by 3. And you end up with 1.466 is equal to negative x. You divide by a negative 1, and you get x is a negative 1.466. Final answer. My students have a test in this. Oh, you can't see that. I'm sorry. Forgive me. All right, so again, natural log of 13 over 3 is 1.466. I brought down the negative x. I brought that down, and then I divided by negative 1 on both sides to get that as a final answer. As I was saying, my students have a test on this tomorrow. So if they're watching, you can call in. Let's look at the next problem. All right, so again, we want to isolate something. Here we're isolating this e function, this exponential part of our equation. We're isolating that. So in order to do that, we subtract 10. On both sides, we get 0.1 e to the 3x is equal to 8. Again, we're isolating this exponential part of our equation. In algebra, you do a lot of isolating of different things. Here, we're isolating the exponential part of this equation. Divide by 0.1. All right, so you're left with 80. You get 80 is equal to e to the 3x. 80 is equal to e to the 3x. So this is another exponential equation where the unknown variable is in the exponent. The only way to solve that is to use this relationship. All right, so our a, the a for our problem is e. All right, a for our problem is e. The y value of our problem is 3x. And for our problem, x is 80. All right, for our problem, x is 80. All right, so what are we going to do now? What are we going to do now is rewrite this exponential equation as a logarithm. Log base A, so we have log base A, for us, A is E, of x, x for us is 80, is equal to y, and y for us is 3x, all right? So log base E of x is the same thing as natural log of x. So log base E of 80, that's the same thing as the natural log of 80, is equal to 3x. Now you'd have to put the natural log of 80 in the calculator. Let's do that. So we got the natural log of 80. You get 4.382. So what we have here is we have 4.382 is equal to 3x, divide by 3 on both sides, and you get x is 1.46. Final answer, 1.46. All right. So what we've done so far is equations that have this e variable in it, that exponential in it, and they're also, I consider them exponential equations because what you have is you have the unknown variable. The variable that's unknown is actually an exponent. Now what I'd like to do is I'd like to look at a little bit different equation, logarithmic equations, where you got the natural log function there. Let's take a look at maybe one or two of these. All right, so now what we're going to do is, again, we're going to isolate something. Here, let's isolate this log. Let's isolate that. All right, so what are you going to do? You're going to add 1 on both sides. We get 6 natural log 4x is equal to 15. You want to get that logarithmic part of your equation by itself. Let's divide 6. And you get natural log 4x is equal to, you can simplify that. Each of these are divisible by 3. You get 5 halves. All right, so each of those are divisible by 3. You divide this by 5, you divide this by 3, you get 5. You divide this by 3, you get 2. All right, so now this is a logarithmic equation. It's a logarithmic equation. All right, so the way to solve this logarithmic equation is to turn it into an exponent. You take the logarithmic equation and you turn it into the exponent. That's the only way to solve this. All right, so for our problem, A, I told you, over here I told you log base E of x is the natural log. So when you got the natural log, the base is E. When you got a natural log, the base is E. All right, so here you have a natural log. So another way of writing this natural log, another way of writing this is log base E of 4x is 5 over 2. It's the same statement. Same statement. All right, so the only way to solve this is with an exponential equation. That's the only way to solve this. So for our problem, A is E. For our problem, can't see both of these. All right, let's rewrite it. A to the y is x. It can be rewritten as log base A of x is y. It's the same thing I have written up here. All right, but I want you to be able to see that. I want you to be able to see this as I do this problem. All right, so for our problem, A is E. And for our problem, x is 4x. For our problem, y is 5 halves. All right, so now what we're going to do is rewrite this as an exponent. Rewrite this as an exponent. A to the y is equal to x. So A for us is E. E to the y, our y is 5 halves. A to the y is x. So E to the y, which is 5 halves, is equal to our x, which is 4x. All right. So now, all you need to do is just put that in the calculator. All right. So we have E. If you want to raise something to a power, a lot of calculators have this caret button right here. I'm hoping that you can see that. All right. So we have E raised to the 2.5 power. That's what 5 halves is. And you get 12.18. All right, so here you get 12.18 is equal to 4x. You're going to divide by 4 on both sides. Divide by 4. And you end up with 3.046. X is equal to 3.046. Final answer. All right. The logarithmic equation. All right. You're trying to isolate this logarithmic part of your equation. You're trying to get this all alone. What are you going to do? You're going to add the 5 here. Add the 5. You get 2 natural log 3x is 10. Now you're trying to get this all alone. Trying to get this natural log part all alone. You divide by 2. You get natural log 3x is equal to 5. All right. The only way to solve this logarithmic equation is to rewrite this as an exponent. All right. So for our problem, A is, again, I told you another way of writing this is log base E of 3a. The natural log is the same thing as log base E. Whatever you have a natural log, the assumed base is E. A is E. For our problem, X is 3X. For our problem, down here, for our problem, Y is 5. The only way you solve this is with an exponent. A to the Y is X. A to the Y is X. So you have E to the 5 power is equal to X. For our problem, that's 3X. Now you need to put that in the calculator. We have E to the 5 power. Put that in the calculator. You're left with 148.4 is 3x. You divide by 3 on both sides. And your final answer, sorry about that, your final answer is 49.47. Final answer. All right.